It's like hiring a PI to follow a PI.
Exactly.
And they're just following each other in
It's like a
circles.
snake eating its own butthole.
Yeah. They do that.
They sure do.
They really do.
So we I want to know where you were headed, actually.
Lights, camera, action.
Like, do you have 12 hours to watch 2 Apatow movies?
He's got J-Lo back. You don't just get J-Lo back.
What's the worst, like, acid trip you've ever had?
Well, this is Red Band Podcast, baby. Movies, music, conspiracies, deep existential crises. It's all inside and it's all unfiltered. So let's get started.
Sket.
Get it.
Sket it.
Hey, we have 2 microphones now.
We do.
3 episodes in, and we've already upgraded. Cheers.
I'm proud of us. Let me get my water.
Here's my water.
For those who are not watching, which is everyone,
Yeah.
we're drinking water.
Except for maybe the weird people outside my window.
I like those people. Good people.
They're comforting.
I'm that kind of crazy. I'd be pretty flattered to have a stalker.
Would you?
I think I would.
I don't think I'd handle it well.
What do you think you'd do?
I would have a lot of anxiety attacks, I think. I would be very paranoid.
Right.
I'd probably move a lot. I'd let very few people come over. It's such a sad life.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Maybe not.
No new friends.
Because why give that one person all that power?
Right.
To just turn you into a hermit shell? The more I talk about it, I'm like, no, that's dumb.
Yeah. There's that story about Robert Pattinson. You like Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, what have I seen him in other than Twilight recently? I guess nothing. Wow.
Whoa.
No, that's not true. I've seen him in Harry Potter.
Because it hurts a little to hear you say that. Robert Pattinson's done some beautiful work over the last decade that has not been Twilight or Harry Potter.
Okay.
This is my pretentious filmy coming out. But Robert Pattinson's doing big things. He's doing good things. And he's going to be our next Batman.
That's true.
You're aware.
I'm well aware.
Are you one who thinks... Well, before I get into that, let me tell you the Robert Pattinson story. I don't even know if it's a real fucking story. I just read it on the internet.
Okay.
Is that basically...
It's definitely real then.
Is that not how we obtain all of our information these days?
Everything.
Even technically doing my schoolwork is I read it on the internet. It's valid sources, but I read it on the internet technically.
True.
Robert Pattinson had a stalker, and one day he decided to just let his stalker take him out on a date.
Really?
And I think he just spent that whole time like complaining about being famous and like how much he hated like the fact that he was in Twilight probably. And the stalkerness never came back. Like the stalker just didn't. He just spent the whole time like bitching about his life and just how much he hates being famous and, you know, how awful it is. And he probably smoked a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And that stalker really got a reality check and just realized that Robert Pattinson is just like any other good-looking British dude. He just happens to be a damn good actor. Nothing too special besides his acting capabilities, which are top tier.
So then maybe that was like a top tier smart move on his part. He was like, you know what? I'm just going to make this person see I'm not all that great.
Yep.
And that person was like, God bless, man.
It's
This is
brilliant
the
move.
person I've been stalking?
Yeah.
What a shit show.
I need to know, so then what was your reaction when you heard Pattinson would be Battinson?
I was like, another Batman. We're doing this again. Because I mean, I feel like DC is such a mess, right? They're all over the place.
Yeah.
They're trying to scramble to catch up and all of that. But I was really excited to see where Ben Affleck was going to take it, just because he was going to write and direct and star in like the solo Batman movie.
Right.
And we all know Affleck, he ain't no rookie.
No.
I think he would have been a really interesting POV for Batman because he writes dark, gritty stuff. Mm-hmm. He's been through dark, gritty stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, he struggles with alcoholism and everything like that. So I was excited.
Yeah.
And then that got canned. Actually, from what I understand, again, this is all knowledge I just obtained on the internet. But from what I understand, he had shown the Batman script to one of his friends. And his friend was like, yeah, the script's great, but you can't keep doing this, man. You're going to kill yourself. And because I guess he was drinking a lot while doing it. And then he did that movie, The Way Back. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Didn't watch it. Probably would. That's an interesting one. That's like in 3 years, I'll watch that over spaghetti while me and my girlfriend, we had a fight about a week ago, but things are getting a little better.
Okay.
That's when I'll probably watch that.
The way back, and it just so many layers, right?
Yeah.
The way back to the relationship.
Exactly.
Find your way back to the spaghetti.
Yep. It'll be a simple night
Yeah.
that we watch that, but it's going to be a while. And the only reason I'm going to remember it exists is because I am going to watch Batman vs. Superman. I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about what could have been. And then I'm going to think about this conversation. And then I'm going to listen to our old episodes. And hopefully me and you haven't divorced by then. And then I'm going to say I'm going to watch The Way Back.
Okay.
Save
so
our
there's a little
relationship.
bit of a road before you get there.
Yeah.
But it was good. Mm-hmm. Like I was actually surprised by it. My point was that when that trailer first came out, he looked like really bloated in his face.
Right.
And I was like, I don't think this is method. I think this is real. I think he's coming off that Batman script and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. This is the perfect movie for me to just do.
Yeah.
He looks great now. He looks like he's lost all the beer weight. I don't know what he's doing, but
he's got J-Lo back. You don't just get J-Lo back drinking alone in a room writing Batman scripts. Like
that's true.
J-Lo and not to give him too much credit. I mean, she's going to jump into another relationship. It's one of the death, taxes, and Jennifer Lopez is jumping into another relationship. Those are 3 guarantees of life.
And he was with, I think, Ana de Armas before that. Wasn't he?
I don't actually know who that is.
She's, let's see, she's in Blade Runner.
The giant naked neon chick?
Yeah. She's
That's
the giant naked
fucking
neon
hot.
chick. And
to people who have like a giantess kink dominated by a giant woman kink, it exists. She has to be top 3 like things you can casually masturbate to on a normal movie that's not pornography for people who have that kink.
It's like in Step Brothers when they're like, what's your favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to? Good Housekeeping.
Good Housekeeping.
That's your Good Housekeeping
Right.
kind of scenario.
Dude, speaking of that, Catherine Hahn in Step Brothers fucking John C. Reilly in the bathroom. It did something to me.
Did it?
When I was in middle school.
Did it awaken some interesting parts of you?
She's too good of an actress.
She is.
Like,
I agree.
fucking A.
You know, nobody talks about her.
Not until WandaVision, and it's like, oh, you guys are going to act like you knew who she was the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Where was you when she was on The Goods?
The Goods?
Were you watching her on The Goods? You ever seen that movie?
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, shit. It's a, what's the Will Ferrell, Adam McKay? Is that Gary Sanchez Productions, I think?
Yeah, with the whip.
Yeah. It's a hidden Gary Sanchez gem.
Okay.
How did we get here?
Let's rewind. Let's wind the clocks back. Stalker. Okay, so
Stalker.
handling a stalker,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah.
But I think my new conclusion is that I would maybe take the Pattinson approach with some caution to it.
With some caution.
You know, like I feel like there's you need to be cautious with that.
With a bulletproof vest.
With something. Let somebody know. Mm-hmm. You have somebody like watching and following a little bit. Go to a lot of public places.
Have someone stalking you and your stalker.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Give them a taste of their own medicine.
Give them a taste of their own medicine. 911 on speed dial.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't let them have that control over me. You gotta live your life still. Do your thing. How would you handle?
I'm so toxic.
All right. I like where this is going already.
I'd be so like into it. I'd be flattered. And I'd probably give him a chance. And I'd be like, oh, you think you're crazy? Like, you think you're gonna stalk me and that's gonna freak me out? Like, what's your address? Mm-hmm. I'll look through your window and touch myself. And at that point, I don't know what happens when you fight fire with fire when it comes to stalking. I imagine we'd live happily ever after, though.
It's like hiring a PI to follow a PI.
Exactly.
And they're just following each other in circles.
Like a snake eating its own butthole.
Yeah. They do that.
They sure do.
They really do.
So I want to know where you were headed, actually.
I was going to jump to Pattinson. Yeah, I still don't think I've seen anything really with him in it other than Harry Potter and Twilight. And let me say, not the best examples of what I'm sure he can do.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that Good Times movie. Mm-hmm. So maybe. I know it's the same guy who did Gems, Uncut Gems. Definitely going to see Batman.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And if I have to, I might get around to forcing myself to try and watch Lighthouse.
I know.
It's just one of those things where I'm like, can I do it? Do I want to take the time to do it?
Last time we talked about film students making everything black and white. Mm-hmm. And the Lighthouse really is a very high budget version of that. But it's done more right than any of these little film student fucks ever could. Because Robert Eggers has a vision. He knows what he wants. Is it super pretentious in 2019 to make a film that looks like it was made in 1930? Probably.
Maybe.
But if there's one person who could do it and do it well, it's Robert Eggers. Eggers? I don't know.
Edgers?
Edging. Robert
Edging?
Robert Edging. Which is what Robert Pattinson is doing to himself like half the time he's in that fucking lighthouse.
You serious?
Just like edging his cock.
What else are you going to do, really?
To a little wooden carving of a mermaid. I shit you not. Spoiler alert. In the lighthouse, Robert Pattinson jerks off to a little wooden carving of a mermaid.
Speaking of mermaids, because this is probably going to open a whole rabbit hole.
I'm ready.
But I've been really into Sirens lately. Not in that way, not in a weird jerking off way. Let me rewind, because that was a bad transition. Poor transition. Whew. Oh, God. 3 episodes in, we're already creating controversy. That's not what I meant. You said mermaids, and I started thinking about mythical creatures.
Yes.
How we know very little about what actually exists on our planet.
Correct.
On TikTok, on my For You page, I've been getting a lot of videos about that kind of stuff, specifically sirens. What do you think about them? Do you think they're real? Because there's this guy who he's been putting out he works on like a boat or something, and his videos look pretty real. They've caused a lot of controversy, like to the point where his account got banned. I think he even recently got in like a car accident or something, I heard. So it's starting to get weird, but he was like out to sea, and he was like hearing basically what sounded like a siren call, and it's a lot of weird stuff going on with him there at sea. And so a lot of people are speculating and talking about it. And I had never really knew too much about sirens until these videos started coming up.
Right.
And now I'm very interested.
Okay. Like you didn't have much experience in the realm of sirens.
Correct.
Mythologically.
Yeah. My exposure to it was like very minimal.
Super minimal.
What I knew about it, them, was just they were like these mermaid-esque kind of creatures that would lure sailors in with their song. And it was so beautiful. They would be guided to it, and then they would fuck them up or something.
Yeah. It's really funny to imagine like that could just be like one of the earliest like misogynistic metaphors. Like, just don't listen to the call of the demon woman. She will drag you down, because that's what women are.
Interesting.
There's no way like that anyone could confirm that doesn't exist as much as they could confirm that does.
That is true.
And it sounds like there's a little more evidence pointing to it might. I think that's fucking crazy. I think that 100% in the middle of our oceans, maybe not even in the middle, maybe just like
right below the surface,
couple 100 miles out. None of us know what the fuck is going on over there.
Mm-mm.
These things were mythologically created for a reason. They were written down for a reason. What does any good creative do? They draw from real life.
Boom.
Maybe they exaggerated a little.
Had to come from somewhere. And to last this long.
Right.
It's not like a storyline that died off.
Mm-hmm.
Like here we are still talking about mermaids and Bigfoot and aliens and all that stuff all these years later. And I mean,
I don't know.
The thing is, we don't know.
We just don't.
Not even James Cameron knows.
Not even he claims to know.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to think he knows.
He's been to the depths.
He's been around.
He's done the little pressurized ball with the big lights, and he's gone pretty deep.
What a way to start off a movie. To do documentary style, like, I'm James Cameron, I'm going down into the Titanic.
Yeah.
That's what happens, right? No, that's not how it goes. It's still fictional. It's Rose, right?
Well, I don't know what he did for Titanic, but he himself later actually did a thing. Like he actually went down deep, like deep. One of the deepest dives that anyone's ever gone for, recording something.
Right.
So who knows?
I'm going to go ahead and just run back what I said about Titanic. I think I'm completely wrong about that. I think whatever I just said about that, just don't. Just pretend I didn't say it. I haven't watched Titanic since I was like 4 years old.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like since I was 4 or 5 I'm 26. It's been 20 years probably since I watched Titanic. Don't take my word for
that. It's just such a commitment. I remember my grandma had it at her house, and it was on 2 VHS tapes.
It's 2 VHS tapes. What used to scare the shit out of me was just like those fucking frozen people when they just flashlight out into the ocean and it's just fucking frozen people. Dude, 5-year-old me, that was the scariest shit I'd seen, I think. It's good horror, actually.
Imagine.
James Cameron, good horror.
Good job.
In that scene.
Yeah.
Good horror. Avatar.
Man, when are we going to get another... He's been working on those for years.
He's been working on Avatar 2 and 3. First of all, that's his first mistake, right? As a creative, you know, if you're trying to do 2 sequels at the same time, that's why. That's why it's been over a decade and a half almost since we got another Avatar.
What do you think he's doing with them? I mean, I guess what it is he's trying to make it look as absolutely real as possible.
Right.
So I get it. But I don't know. I'm wondering, 10 years, do you think it was the story? Do you think he's like, the technology's not where I want it to be right now? Let me wait.
I think it could have been that. I think definitely the technology piece, which makes me feel weird because it's like, are we going to watch Avatar 2 and 3 in another decade and be like, wow, that kind of looks like shit? Because that's what I do when I watch the first Avatar. I'm like, really? We thought this was like the pinnacle of CGI?
Right.
The other thing that's crazy is like the star of the movie is incredibly irrelevant now.
Yeah. What's his name?
We don't know because he's a fucking irrelevant as shit.
Joel Edgerton.
No, Joel Edgerton's wonderful.
Wow, what was
we like Joel Edgerton. He's great. He does good shit.
Sam Worthington. I knew it was a 10.
Fucking Worthington.
Wow.
Hasn't done shit in a while. Is he even? Are you on IMDb?
I am.
Is he even slated for the new Avatars?
Because dude,
is he?
He has 14 upcoming projects.
Fucking
maybe
shit.
He's not as
comeback season.
Wait a minute, Avatar 5. Dude, okay, he's slated for Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5.
We'll be lucky. Two things are gonna happen. It's gonna be a hit, and Avatar is gonna become the next Marvel or Star Wars or whatever the fuck. Or no one gives a shit anymore, and they're gonna release 2 and maybe 3, and we're never gonna get to fucking 5 because no one's gonna care.
Look, he made 1. He made 1, and look at the success. It was like the top movie. I think he topped himself.
Right.
Because he was the top movie with Titanic.
That's
and then
true.
I think he beat himself with Avatar.
He did.
He beat himself right off with Avatar. And then he's only got 1 Avatar, and he has a whole Avatar world at Disney World.
Right. You're right. There's no way. It's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna make as much as the first one, but he's still gonna end up top 5.
Yeah.
With 2, I think.
I think 2 will explode because it's been so long.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how episode 7 was huge because there was this, how long? Like 10 years or something since it had been from episode 3.
It's hard. He's really what is going. I think that's what has to happen. Avatar is going to have to create a cultural hold the same way that Star Wars does for it to, because how many movies have almost a half dozen sequels and are successful? Really, you got your Marvels, you got your Star Wars,
You got Harry Potter.
You got your Harry Potters, and then like everything else, like the Saw franchise. It's not easy to do.
Never seen.
Not even one?
Not even one.
Not even the first Saw?
No.
Damn.
Yeah.
I watched the first Saw in like middle school.
I was allowed to when everyone was seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't have been allowed to watch a lot of the shit I watched. The first two are the only ones you need to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now there's that new one, right, with Chris Rock.
Not that great.
Is it out already?
Yeah, it's out. It's like the second movie I saw in theaters after the pandemic.
Wow. Marketing was not great on that, I guess, because I had no idea. Like, I knew it was coming out. I didn't know it was already out.
The marketing wasn't great, you're right, at all. It should have been like a moment in history. It's so what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're matching up two things that anyways, I was looking for a word there. Chris Rock making a Saw movie. Just that, whatever. It's so interesting that we should have celebrated it a lot more. And I don't know who makes the Saw movies. Lionsgate, maybe. MGM, I don't know. One of those fuckers.
Lionsgate. Wow, do they still make movies?
I think so.
I can't. It's weird. Like, I can't pinpoint like a Lionsgate movie. I can tell you a Universal movie.
Yes,
for sure, and obviously a Disney movie because Disney owns everything. But like
The Grinch, a
Lionsgate movie.
Yeah,
I don't know. I couldn't name one. I can see the logo in my head.
Can you? I can't.
It's like it's a gate and it opens up and there's like clouds, I think, and then it says Lionsgate.
I think so. What else is like? What's the one with the lady holding the like torch?
Oh, that's Paramount.
That's Paramount, huh?
Paramount, yeah.
My childhood, there was a lot more Paramount. Not as much Paramount these days.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, fuck.
What are we even talking about anymore?
Yeah. The point is, what is the point of this?
I don't know. That's the thing. There's no point to any of this.
No, there isn't. It's just to think like it's a lot different than when we were kids.
Yeah, it is. Vastly different.
And a lot of these companies have swallowed up those companies from when we were kids. They've swallowed them up. Mm-hmm. It was Miramax when we were kids.
Miramax.
Now,
wow,
controversial.
Is it?
Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, was that his company?
That was like their deal.
Oh.
That was their deal. That's a toughie.
Yeah.
They put out a damn good run of movies. But
I feel like 13 Going on 30 is Miramax. And the only reason I say that is because I saw it recently and I feel like I remember seeing it.
Hold on. I need to know the context in which you watched 13 Going on 30 recently. Like in 2021, you watched 13 Going on 30?
Yeah.
I love it. How? Why? Please.
Well, my mom loves the movie.
Really?
A lot.
That's sweet.
Yeah. She loves the movie a lot. And then the girlfriend wanted to see it too. I think I watched it with her and my mom. Like a family unit thing. It was just, we were scrolling and it was like, oh my God, 13 Going on 30. And I was like, sure. I haven't seen it in probably 20 years.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Does your mom like your girlfriend?
Oh, yeah.
She thinks she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Has your family met yours?
Everyone but my mom has met my girlfriend because my mom lives in Texas right now.
Oh, what happened?
She got a job. Mm-hmm. She got a good job for FEMA, actually.
Wow.
My mom and my little brother live in Texas, but my little brother has met my girlfriend because he's come to Albuquerque. My mom hasn't been able to come visit. And I haven't been able. I'm like also the only fucking kid who hasn't gone to Texas.
Oh.
And so there's just been no crossover between. But I know my mom is going to love my girlfriend.
Nice.
I think they're going to be like best fucking friends.
And the rest of your family approves?
The rest of my family totally approves.
That's such a nice feeling, isn't it?
It does. It is.
Have you met her side?
So many of them.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Okay.
And I'm about to meet more for unfortunate circumstances. Family loss in their family. But so I will be going to a funeral to meet more. I just went on camping. Last episode I talked about Nina. I was going to go camping. That was with her dad and her stepmom and their circle.
Yeah.
That went great.
Awesome.
They like me. I like them. We got to camp together. It was a good old time. So yeah, all is fair. Have you met her family?
Oh yeah.
Good people?
Almost. I mean, I've met the major pieces.
The core.
To the puzzle. Met the parents. I've met the siblings.
Yeah.
I've met one of the grandparents. So, I mean, and then obviously all of her friends. Mm-hmm. So we've done a good amount of meeting.
You guys are doing it.
There's approval all around.
Yep.
Which is good. Mm-hmm. Excellent. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's a really good feeling when it feels good. That's
Absolutely.
an overly simplified statement, but you know how it feels. Just, you're these people I'm comfortable with. It feels familiar. It feels like I can bond with these people and have a good time and kind of be myself, really.
Feels like you want to make them your family.
Exactly.
That's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your situation's like, but for me, it's my girlfriend, every other boyfriend she's had has been a complete piece of shit. Fuck. And it's I'm pretty great.
Yeah.
But even if I wasn't as great as I was, I'd probably already be 10 times better than her other shit. Fucks.
Dude, the bar is so low for dudes.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
It's too easy, and not in that way, but it's too easy to just impress them with how a gesture.
Yeah.
Buying them a coffee.
Yep. Right.
And bringing it to them while they're at work because they need it. That right now in this day and age is mind blowing. Mm-hmm. They'd be my boyfriend before would expect me to leave work and get him a coffee or something,
or would yell at me for saying coffee, just not even for saying you want, just for using the verbiage coffee.
Someone that is that angry about coffee that if you say that word.
What did you say? What did I say about saying the C word?
Yeah.
You just have to not be like that.
Have
you ever been a shitty boyfriend?
I try not to. Have I ever been shitty where it's they're crying or having a bad day,
right?
And you're shut the fuck up or something. I'm trying to watch the game. You take that in the other room, please. There's a box of tissues in there. Put on a movie. Yeah. I don't know. I would never be. I think my girlfriend, like, ever.
You give me good perspective. I think I've never been terrible like that. Never intentional. I've been sensitive to feelings, attempted to be compassionate at every turn. Obviously never physically abusive. Mm-hmm. But I think what I realized in retrospect being in this relationship now is like I definitely had fallen short in the past with just effort, with just general effort to like do a little better. And so I think that's what prompted me to ask that. I don't think I've ever been a shitty boyfriend, but I think I'm probably the best boyfriend I've ever been right now. And I think there's times where I've been in relationships where I've thought I'm a great boyfriend and I probably wasn't that great of a boyfriend. You know?
Yeah. This is such an interesting topic, actually, that I would like to get like a female on the show.
I know.
Get their perspective on like, I mean, it's so bad that we know that the bar is low. Right. So they're definitely going to be like, the bar is so low.
Right.
I would want to know what they think, you know, because there's always that debate of like good guys, shitty dudes. There's the perspective of all girls only want the guys who treat them like shit, and all the good guys are in the friend zone. There's that whole can of worms right there. I think it's a little more, it's not so black and white like that.
No.
It is a little more complex. And that wasn't something that I discovered until I started dating a little more and being in actual relationships, that I realized it's not like that.
It's not like that at all.
It's really it's different. Mm-hmm. And it's not something we have a whole lot of time to dive in on this one.
No.
But that's something that would be an interesting thing to talk about.
I think it would. And were you a nice guy?
Oh.
I was.
Dude. Were. Sometimes I still struggle.
You still
a nice
struggle
guy.
with that shit, huh?
I think it's just in my nature. Like I was brought up to be too nice.
Sure.
To be like a doormat almost.
Right.
So that was a hard place to balance between like, how do I still be a good person, right? Not be shitty, but also not allow myself to just be taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Or like walked all over, or be too putting everybody else's priorities basically ahead of my own, kind of a thing.
And then the other thing about nice guy, and I don't know if you were this, and this is partially too what I mean about it, is like where I was like that and then not, you know, attracting women and like kind of resent, like pre-incel. Right. Oh. Like a little bit there. Like I wasn't obviously super crazy, but it was like more like self-loathing. Like what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's because I'm, like you said, that black and white thinking. Oh, it's because I'm nice and girls just want the bad guys and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And that kind of shit. And it's like so unhealthy.
It's so unhealthy. And it's so not that way.
Not that way at all, dude.
Which if you had told me that, I'd be like, bullshit. It is that way. How do you explain this and this and this and this and that? And it is easy to see it that way until you dive into it and you find out it is different. Being like that in high school, I definitely was that way in high school. I was really, really nice, really too caring. But this doesn't even just come down to a gender thing.
Right.
Attracting I mean, they say opposites attract, right?
Right.
And that's really what it is like, nobody wants someone who's just totally agreeable. Nobody wants just a people pleaser. And like I said, this is men and women. Like two guy friends, if they're just always agreeing on everything, it's a little bit easier, right? It's a friendship.
Right.
So you do obviously want to have way more agreeances. But there's something in opposition. So, for example, a guy who's labeled as a nice guy, they're labeled that way partly because they don't put their foot down for anything. Right. They're just like, oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I hate that movie. The movie sucks. Where if you really like that movie, you should be putting your foot down and be like, you might hate that movie, but I actually fucking love that movie.
Right.
At least that's respectable versus the nice guy who's just like, I just want to please you by agreeing with you. And then, like I said, same for friends. If you're doing that in your friend group, then pretty soon your friends will learn like, oh, we can manipulate the shit out of this guy. He'll just do what we want as long as we make it seem like, he's the minority in the situation. So, I mean, dude, there's a lot. You can unravel a lot with that kind of stuff that at first I never saw, but.
So much. And that's the secret sauce. To act like that is dishonest, and honesty is attractive. No matter who you are or what you are. Just standing your ground on what you like, who you are, what you believe in, like that's what's going to attract people to you, rather than creating a mythological version of yourself based on what everyone else around you likes or wants in that moment. That's the secret sauce. Mm-hmm. But the even more secreter sauce is to do that, to stand your ground on who you are, to be who you are, not because you're trying to attract women, not because you want to get laid, just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, how can you respect yourself?
Yeah.
If you don't even know, like, I feel like after a certain point, you get so diluted by trying to match everyone else's likes and dislikes.
Right.
That then at a certain point, you're like, well, I don't even know what I actually like and dislike. And then it's so disorienting that you're just like, well, shit, I don't have any like, how can I respect me when I don't even know me?
Yep.
Kind of a thing. And then it's just a rabbit hole from there. Like, it just unspirals and it.
Right. And I don't know about you, but that's me even up to a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I know that. And I think you're similar, right?
I'm exactly in the same timeline. Yeah, I'm not talking from like years and years of experience. No. This is stuff that I'm just barely learning.
Barely scratching the surface on, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll learn something new every day. Mm-hmm. Every day. And I might have an opinion today that maybe a week from now I might be like, oh, you know what? It's actually, my point of view on that has changed.
Totally.
There's been a lot of growth, definitely, for you and I this past year and a half. That a lot of this stuff that I know now has just only recently come.
Yeah, just to give people a peek behind the curtain, I'd say it was a little over a year ago that we just happened to start meeting together at a park.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why. Why did we start doing that?
I think I just reached out
to
you, just checking in.
Yep.
And then I think we were talking about the podcast again because we had done it several months before that.
Right before COVID, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we were like, well, let's catch up. Let's talk about maybe getting this thing going again, see how each other are doing. And in catching up, we realized, man, we are in some shitty places right now.
Totally.
So then from that point, we were just kind of like, well, hey, man, if you ever need someone to talk to, we'll just go hang out, a little therapy session. Mm-hmm. And what better place than in nature?
Yep.
Right, at a park, just
CNN
chilling.
Park.
I think that's how it started.
I think you're right. Because I was struggling.
Oh,
my uncle had just died, like close family member.
Yeah.
And it was a very sudden, tragic, horrific death. I think, like that was one of those things where it's like there was the surface level meeting of the minds, creative. We're both creative. We like to do these things. And then I think we kind of just cut through that bullshit and said, what's really going on?
Yeah. We were really like, you know what? And that's what's great about it. Actually, is these were different sides than we'd ever seen. I only had the outside perspective, like of your struggles kind of. And like, oh, I know he's dealt with some stuff, but I don't know. And this was like a way different, like we weren't just having laughs. We were digging deep into some stuff. And it was a different perspective, but I like that, and I like that more so in the past year and a half because so I don't know, I get really tired of surface level stuff really quickly. Like I get exhausted on it pretty fast.
Right,
I'm the guy who's like, let me see some of your dark stuff, and let's talk about aliens. Where you went to school, that's cool. What do you think about Sirens?
Yeah,
what you know what I mean?
Like. That's great that's like your maiden name, but like, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah.
And like sirens, absolutely.
That's an awesome tattoo. I would have never guessed that's what it stood for. Mm-hmm. But What's the worst like acid trip you've ever had? Mm-hmm. What did it tell you? What did it show you?
Did you do acid?
No, I've never.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering. I was wondering.
I've been wondering about it more and more. Yeah.
Did you do mushrooms though?
No.
No? You were just blazing it a little bit, huh?
A little bit.
You were starting to blaze it. I remember that around that time that we were meeting at the park.
Yeah.
You were starting to smoke a bowl.
Little something.
You're smoking a bowl. Sorry, I don't know if that's like, are we getting there on this podcast? It's funny. There's I feel like, I know you're very transparent though. I don't know if you give a shit.
I am and I'm not. There's a lot of things that I will be an open book about, and then there's other things that I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't need to talk about that.
I'm a little too open of a book, but I'm not afraid to admit that I know that it's because I'm an attention whore.
Oh.
I know that about myself.
Okay.
That's my entertainer. That's my desire for validation. That's my look at me, listen to me. That's my inflated ego. Like, I know that about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to know that that I was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
Because I want you to think I'm like mysterious.
Oh, yeah.
And like to know that like I'm I'm a happy-go-lucky, positive, maybe fun, compassionate, caring person. And also I used to be a heroin addict.
Yeah.
And I want you to like apply that level of like curiosity to me. And is that like why I did heroin? Maybe. No, there's
plenty of ways to be mysterious, but that's a very different approach.
No, it's much deeper than that. But that's I open bookness. I see it, and I think I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna talk about why I think it's a little bit harder for me to do comedy now.
Okay.
I think it's because I've done work on myself. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a little bit harder for me to buy into wanting to have everyone look at me, laugh at me, think that I have important things to say. I don't think I was doing comedy for the right reasons. And I kind of was, and I kind of wasn't. I was too competitive. I wasn't having as much fun.
Okay.
And it's like, it was dramatic. Like, I feel like I was being very competitive in a small comedy market where the stakes weren't really high. It was just like, who gave a fuck? But like, for some reason I turned it into some like competitive game, and I turned it into some like ego trip. And then COVID happened, and then I did a lot of work on myself. And then it's been harder for me to get back into it. And if I'm ever going to get back into it, it's going to have to be for the right reasons. I think just because I love comedy and I want to do comedy, not because I'm seeking validation, not because I'm trying to stroke my ego, not because I want to be better than anybody.
Yeah.
That's what's going to have to be. And so I think that's where it's been hard to get back into it. It really has.
You'll have to find your way back. Mm-hmm. Bring it full circle. Ben Affleck movie.
Son of a.
The way back to comedy.
Son of a bitch. Hey, hopefully I don't become a chronic relapser like Ben Affleck.
I mean, that I feel like maybe I'm wrong because I don't really know. But I feel like that happens when you don't fully finish doing the work on yourself.
Right.
And you don't continue to. It's like a muscle.
Yep.
Meditating during bad times and good times. So that way when the bad times hit, it's not so heavy and you don't have to work that meditation muscle as much. It's just, it comes to you right away. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's kind of, but I could be totally wrong. I know nothing about really that world and the relapsing and going to AA or anything like that.
But you do know about doing some work on yourself.
I do know that. That I do know.
Because you kind of brought me back to something. You pulled something out of me when we were hanging out at that park. I was having so much trouble tapping into that like realm, like that spiritual realm. Mm-hmm. It was really hard. And then weird shit was happening. Do you remember?
Yeah, man. That's what happens.
Weird shit was happening when we were meeting up.
Yeah.
There was something about a feather. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, and that comes too from my friend Robert, who opened my eyes to that. And once he opened my eyes to that, then I started noticing.
Yes.
There's a whole thing on like spiritual journeys and like stages of them.
Yep.
That's a whole other episode. We could just talk about that one too, because I feel like that would be good to talk about our spiritual journeys like separately and then together how they converged.
I would like that.
Because there are different stages, and just like with anything, there's ups and downs where you feel like you're flying and you're like, this is amazing. And then you hit that peak and you kind of, you experience like a dip where you feel disconnected. You feel like, okay, that high is gone almost. The work has reached its maximum. Like, I don't know that I can push through anything else.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people give up.
Yep.
And that's how that, I don't know, universe, however you want to look at life, has its way of testing you and filtering out, seeing if you're ready for almost that next stage, that next level. So what you were saying about like the feather, that, you know, when he mentioned that to me and what that represented, which I mean, you can go deep into it. Like there's different meanings for the colors of feathers and all that kind of stuff. But that's what I noticed too, that they started popping up for me and like right on my path, like right, not like, oh, I see one off to the distance there, like right in front of me if I was walking somewhere.
Right.
Just last week I went and I opened my car door and there was a feather in there, like on the floor of the driver's side, right in front of the seat. And I was like, how did that even, I'm sure it stuck to my foot or something and went in, but, and it was right after a meeting I had for the new job that I have to create videos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like a really nice enlightening moment, a reminder of like, to me anyway, because it could be something different for everybody. But for me, it was like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right things. Like this is kind of the what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Right. And it feels good and it felt right. And that was like a confirmation for me.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about that, about the feather in the car, is it's one of those things where you said like, maybe it was just stuck to my foot and then went in my car. But there's nothing about even that is like disapproving of the spiritual theory behind that. Because to me, like the way I view the unfolding of the universe, the natural unfolding of the universe, is that however that feather got in your car, whether like spectacular or magical or like run of the mill, random, like doesn't seem like it has much meaning to it, that is exactly how it unfolded the way it was supposed to. For you to see it when you saw it, after you experienced that experience, to spark something in you that got connected to that place deep inside of you that's connected to that spiritual realm.
Exactly.
And I think that's, like you said, there's make or break perspectives where someone can look at that and just, yeah, it's just a fucking feather. Those fucking hokey fucks, they don't know what the fuck. He just stepped on it and it got into his car. Who gives a shit? Yeah. And to me, it's like, even that is not a way to disprove that kind of vibe. Because to your point, we started hanging out. You started pointing that out to me. You started telling me some shit I didn't know about. And right after that, I do work the 12 steps. I worked to step, one of the steps of the 12 steps, with my 12-step sponsor. And I hit a fucking boom. Like I hit a motherfucking next level.
Yeah.
Right?
Little bottle rocket went off.
And then I rode that wave until I hit another dip. And here I am coming out of the dip again, to the point where, like, when we recorded our first episode, I was going through like a weird thing. And then like we were going to record our second episode, and I had such a really bad night the night before. And even before we recorded our first episode, we like things kept happening where we couldn't do it.
Oh, there were so many like roadblocks.
So many.
It seemed like.
And for me, all of mine were just like interpersonal, like just like shit happening inside of me that just was throwing me off. Besides when my girlfriend got sick, that was a different thing. But it was like that night that we were supposed to record our second one that day. And like, I literally just had like an emotional breakdown the night before.
Yeah.
And it's like almost seems seasonal. Like I'm literally back on track almost in conjunction to a year ago when we started hanging out.
Yeah.
There's some weird fucking happening here, Estevan.
There's cycles, man. Cycle. Oh, dude. Don't even get me started. We don't have time.
Yeah, we fucking don't. This is a fucking entertainment podcast, but should it be?
I mean, it's Red Band.
It's Red
right?
Band. That could mean anything.
Anything. Nothing's off limits, really.
We're evolving.
We are evolving.
In front of your ears.
Right before your drums.
Right before your drums. This is why, and there's such a, correct me if I'm wrong, there's such a spiritual component to not preparing to sit down and do a podcast together.
Actually, yeah. Because I've done it both ways. And like today we were going to talk about The Matrix, the new trailer that dropped, the red versus blue pill, that whole like 2000s nostalgia.
Yeah.
And then we sat down and didn't even get close.
Wait.
And we had to do a little bit of a shorter one because you got a thing to do. But
yeah. And I got to pee.
And now you got to pee.
Always.
It's all good. But yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you this podcast can go literally anywhere.
I think it should.
And that's what I like about it. Because that's the vibe really for us. You don't go hang out with your friends and be like, hey guys, tonight when we hang out, let's talk about this thing.
Right.
You get together with your friends and you just talk about wherever the conversation goes. It's like that's kind of what I've envisioned for this podcast, really.
Absolutely. And I get that. And I want that too. And I agree that that's how it should be done. And I'm glad it wasn't even a conversation. And I don't know where, and I think that's just my control freak, where I'm like, there needs to be structure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there doesn't. Why?
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 Why give ourselves that pressure of like, fuck, we've been talking for 30 minutes. We're not even on the main topic.
We haven't even talked about The Matrix.
Who cares?
The Matrix, bro.
Dude.
There's something there.
Elon Musk, he said, I don't know the exact numbers. I should probably look up the quote. But he said he thinks there's a 1 in a million chance or something, 1 in a billion, that we're not living in a simulation.
That we're not?
That we're not.
That means there's a billion chance that we are.
That means let me look this up because it's like that quote about the universe. Either two possibilities exist.
Right.
Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying.
Fuck.
That's the kind of shit that keeps me awake at night.
Yeah, it does. And that's the kind of shit we're just trying to cut through here with non-surface level shit. And we will get to that Matrix because what I didn't want to talk about the Matrix itself. I wanted to talk about how culturally we have misconstrued what they meant by the red pill and the blue pill. And we almost touched on it because we were talking about that nice guy and those gender dynamics. Mm-hmm. And the red pill community online is a community that thinks that they have tapped into some knowledge, some unspoken beneath the surface knowledge about gender relations between men and women, and essentially buying into the black and white ideas of, girls only like this type of guy. They don't like that type of guy. You got to become this type of guy to get women. My dad showed me, God, there's so many things we have to talk about. Man. I'm so excited for this podcast.
Yeah. We might be the only people excited for this podcast.
We might be, but...
And if that's the case, fuck it. If we have 5 loyal listeners, I'll take that as a win.
I would love that.
I'll take that as a win.
Yeah. That's like the piece of me that's like, that's 5 people to start a cult with.
That's all.
All you need is 5.
All you need, man. There's the red band aspect that's teetering on.
Is that what else do you get a cult for?
For fellowship, man. For community. For togetherness.
Right. You know what I hope to do is I hope to not satisfy either side. Mm-hmm. I hope to not satisfy too strongly either side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Either side of the extreme. I'm not saying I even want to dance in the middle. I'm just saying
I would just rather not even
go there.
Be in that realm.
Right.
Like we're living in it's not even a bubble because we're open to anyone who wants to fucking chill, anyone who wants to listen, anyone who even wants to pull up a chair and be on here someday and talk about bullshit with us.
I don't give a fuck. You can come talk about anything.
Anything.
Maybe we could do a fucking contest.
Win a lunch with
a brunch.
Win a brunch, but bring your own brunch.
Bring your own brunch.
Win a brunch, and you pick it up and bring it here.
Right.
And also bring your own chair
and mic.
And
don't give yourself any of that brunch. That's just for us.
Yeah, that's just for us. The brunch is for us.
That's our brunch.
That's your honor, is that you get to buy us brunch and bring it to us.
Yeah. And then kiss my feet. This is a cult.
There it is.
I have to pee.
All right, then. We'll call it.